It was early spring, the kind where everything smells like new beginnings. Rain, soil, trees budding with life. I had just finished organizing the kitchen cabinets when I noticed my son, Jordan, sitting on the back porch steps, his head bowed low and his shoulders hunched. Something about the way he sat told me he wasn't just tired, he was battling something internal. Jordan was 17, a high school senior with a bright future ahead. On the outside, he seemed like any other teenager, quiet at times, playful with his younger sister, obsessed with sneakers and gaming. But over the past few weeks, something had shifted. He had grown more distant, barely joining us for dinner, retreating to his room the moment he got home from school. His eyes, once bright and curious, had become shadowed with worry. That afternoon, I brought him a cup of hot cocoa and sat beside him on the steps. We didn't speak at first. I simply handed him the mug, and he took it silently, eyes still fixed on the backyard where the wind pushed through the budding trees. "You know," I said quietly, "when you were little, you used to come out here and count how many squirrels you could spot. You'd keep score every day." A faint smile tugged at his lips. "Yeah, I remember." We let that silence hang between us, soft and gentle like a blanket. "I miss seeing you smile like you used to, Jordan," I said carefully. "You've been carrying something heavy lately. And you don't have to carry it alone." His jaw tightened. He looked like he wanted to say something but couldn't get the words out. "It's okay," I added. "You don't have to tell me everything right now. But just know that I'm here. And whatever it is, we'll face it together." He blinked rapidly and then finally whispered, "What if you don't like what I say?" I turned to him and placed a hand on his knee. "There's nothing you could say that would make me stop loving you." He exhaled shakily. "I've been confused. About myself. About who I am." I nodded gently, not pushing him, just letting the moment flow. "It's not like I don't know," he continued. "I think I've always kind of known, but now that I'm older, I feel it more. And I don't know how to explain it to anyone." I squeezed his knee softly. "You're doing a pretty good job right now." He laughed quietly. "I don't think I'm like most guys at school. I don't think I ever was." My heart tightened, not with fear, but with the weight of love. I knew what he meant. I had seen it in the way he avoided locker room banter, in the way he had always been more introspective, more emotionally aware than his peers. "I think I might be gay," he said finally, and then quickly, "but I'm not sure. And I don't know if I'm ready to tell anyone else." I reached over and pulled him into a hug. He stiffened at first, then melted into it like he had when he was a little boy. "Thank you for telling me," I whispered. "You're incredibly brave. And I'm so proud of you." He clung to me a bit longer before sitting up and wiping his eyes. "You're not disappointed?" I shook my head. "Sweetheart, I'm proud of the person you are becoming. This doesn't change anything except that now I understand you better. And you're not alone." From that day on, something shifted between us. The silence that had once filled the house turned into long conversations. We'd sit in the living room after dinner, talking about his favorite shows, his friends, and what it was like carrying this secret for so long. I learned about his fears, of being judged, of disappointing his dad, of losing friends. His father, Greg, was a good man but sometimes a little rigid in his views. I worried how he'd take the news. Jordan wasn't ready to tell him yet, and I respected that. But over time, I began gently opening up conversations with Greg about empathy, identity, and the importance of unconditional love. It wasn't easy, years of upbringing don't shift overnight, but I saw the wheels turning. A few months later, Jordan came to me with another confession. He had a crush on someone. A boy in his art class. The way his cheeks flushed when he talked about him was so familiar. It reminded me of my own teenage crushes, when everything felt so intense and confusing and beautiful. "Do you think that's weird?" he asked. "No," I said softly. "I think it's human." One Saturday, I offered to take him shopping. He was hesitant at first, but then we spent the day picking out clothes he felt good in, not just the kind he thought he should wear. I watched as he stood in front of the mirror, a little taller, a little more sure of himself. That evening, we sat at a quiet cafe, sipping lattes and talking about identity. "You helped me see that I'm allowed to be me," he said, eyes bright. "I didn't think I'd ever feel this free. It wasn't always easy. There were nights filled with doubt, tears, and fears about the future. But there were also moments of joy. His first dance, his first real conversation with his dad about who he was, and eventually, his first boyfriend. He brought him over for dinner, and I could see the nervousness in both their eyes. Greg was quiet at first, but respectful, and by the end of the night, he even cracked a joke that made them both laugh. Later, Greg admitted, "I never imagined this. But he's still our son. And he's happy. That's what matters." Jordan's confidence bloomed. He started writing for the school newspaper, sharing thoughtful pieces on self-expression and acceptance. He even organized a small pride event at school, low-key, nothing flashy, just a safe space where students could be themselves. The night before he left for college, he sat beside me on the same porch steps where it all started. "I used to be so scared of who I was," he said. "But now I'm excited. Because I know who I am, and I like that person." Tears welled in my eyes. "I always liked that person, Jordan." He leaned his head on my shoulder. "Thanks for helping me see it." We sat in silence for a long time, listening to the sound of cicadas in the trees and the soft wind rustling through the leaves. And in that moment, I knew something for sure. Sometimes, the greatest gift we can give our children isn't just love. It's understanding. It's standing beside them while they figure themselves out, gently showing them they're never alone.